Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to another MAMG Let's Play. We are diving back into Root Double after what feels like forever. It feels like forever for me, so I'm sure it's double forever for you guys. But I am sorry, a lot of stuff is happening behind the scenes and I couldn't film a 2-hour-long video because I could basically do 4 30-minute long episodes and at least carry the momentum until things settle down. I think they're settled down now. I hope I don't have to stop or put a pause on this game again, but for those of you who haven't been to the channel since I've uploaded a Root Double video, you've probably noticed that the camera is a lot better. That was part of the reason as to why I couldn't film a 2-hour-long video. It kept like overheating and then shutting down, or thinking it was overheating and then shutting down after about an hour or so. So I was trying to get all the kinks worked out. I think we're good. If the camera cuts off during the middle of this video, I'm sorry. I've got my audio going on a separate microphone, so it doesn't even matter. You just won't see this mug. But like I said, I think we're good. So let's dive back into these high schoolers' lives and see what's going on. As soon as they arrived at school, they heard the usual clamor of telepathy. Oh jeez, we're already back into it. Who are you? I mean, you're not gonna win anybody over if you keep doing it that way. What? I'm living in anime right now. Yeah, definitely. Secret training? Natsuhiko and Mashiro walked down the hallway trying to ignore the noise. And once they got into the classroom and sat in their seats, the bell rang. Soon enough, Eno walked in. What are we going to learn about today?
いい返事ね。さて、今日はちょっとした事件があります。
Okay.
このクラスに新しい仲間が一人増えました。
お、転校生?
The background, like, is it a guy? Is it a girl? I wonder who it's going to be like.
女の子っすか?
そうよ。それじゃ、三宮さん、入ってきて。
Ena turned to the door and called to someone outside. And in response, a short girl walked into the classroom. Natsuhiko had seen that girl before.
おお、まさかの金髪娘だ。
ハーフかな?
I mean, you have every hair color on the spectrum sitting right in front of you, but okay.
ちっちゃくてかわいい。
っていうか小さすぎね。小学生?
The introduction of the sweet, precious little girl had the class ecstatic. But in contrast to the excitement, Natsuhiko's face merely went stiff. She has a ferret? That girl. There was no doubt about it. That was the very same girl that had been staring at Natsuhiko and Mashiro at the scene of the accident yesterday. Even the stuffed animal, oh, it was a stuffed animal, okay. Even the stuffed animal in her arms looked familiar. It had to be the same girl. Again, sorry, it's been a month. I remember the car accident though, because Ukita was a little out of it. That girl is now my classmate?
はい。それじゃあ自己紹介してね。
At that signal, the girl opened her lips.
三宮ルイーズゆい。
And that was it. That was apparently all she had to say about herself.
三宮さんはお母様がフランスの方で、今まではフランスに住んでました。日本の文化には不慣れで戸惑うかもしれないけど。
But she's fluent in Japanese.
いや、別に戸惑いはしない。気遣いは不要。
That vocab is a little, what should I say, advanced?
あら？さようでございますか。
She shut Enna down in fluent Japanese. Yeah, there we go. Okay. But Enna quickly recovered and continued where she left off.
三宮さんは13歳ですが、飛び級でこのクラスに編入してきたそうです。
すっげえ。いわゆる天才児っすか？
かもしれないけど、それ以前に同じクラスで学ぶ仲間よ。みんな仲良くしてあげてね。
はーい。
Ever since around 2025, even Japanese schools started allowing for students to skip grades, so a 13-year-old high schooler was not entirely out of the ordinary. But they were still uncommon. This was the first time Natsuhiko had actually seen one.
それじゃあ三宮さん、ホームルームを始めるから、まずは座ってね。席は一番後ろの窓際よ。
As any anime protagonist has a seat near the window. Enna pointed to the seat next to Mashiro's.
理解した。
Okay. Acknowledging the teacher indifferently, the girl named Sannomiya started walking to her new seat. Her gaze locked upon Natsuhiko the entire way. Yes, can I help you? I'll be friendly. Yeah. What's with her? But she said nothing, slipping past Natsuhiko to reach her seat.
じゃあ、夏彦、ずいぶん可愛い子だね。
ああ、確かに。
ね、お人形さんみたいだよね。やっぱハーフの子って綺麗なんだね。
Did I lose any points with Mashiro, or was it? I didn't even
確かに
see.
人種的な要素もあるかもしれないけど。
Regardless of how he put it, she was an eye-catchingly beautiful girl.
でもなんか夏彦のことじっと見てなかった。
Yeah, she don't like me already.
そうかも
まさか知り合いとか？
な。いや。
でもこいつは面白くなってきたね。
What's up with that smile there?
え？何が？
ハーフの転校生なんて盛り上がるじゃん。非日常じゃん。こりゃやっぱ友達にならなきゃ。
ミーハーだな、お前。
As they spoke, Enna continued on with homeroom. And after a few short announcements,
じゃあ朝のホームルームはおしまい。それじゃあ皆さん、また午後にね。
Enna departed the classroom with a farewell. And as if waiting for that cue, all the girls made a beeline to Sannomiya's desk.
ねえねえ、三宮さんってフランスのどこに住んでたの？休みの日とか何してるの？どうしてこんな中途半端な時期に引っ越ししてきたの？
God, this would be so annoying. In light of all these questions,
住んでいたところはアンドレジ。休日は読書する。転居理由は家庭の事情。以上。それで。
bam, 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 answered all your questions. She answered all of the questions in one breath and then looked at each of the girls. The girls fell silent at her intense gaze.
それがどうしたの？
いや、どうしたってわけじゃ。
ほら、周りが年上ばっかりだと溶け込みづらいかなって思って。
No, she doesn't care.
あ、そうそう、それでこっちから話しかけようかと。気遣い不要。年下扱いも望むところではない。
Okay.
年齢が2つ3つ違っても人間性にさほどの影響はないはず。
Sannomiya, are you okay?
うん、まあ。
理解した？ ならば普通に扱ってくれればいい。
It's kinda hard to treat you normally. Sannomiya bluntly answered as she took a paperback book out of her bag. Not an ounce of warmth could be felt from her voice. What was that all about? Did she just not like being interrogated? Or was that a show of her pride as a child prodigy? In any case, she definitely seemed the type to distance herself from other people.
急に話しかけてごめんね。ねえ、行こっか。
One by one, the girls left Sannomiya alone. But that didn't discourage a certain other girl from approaching her. Oh, I wonder who it is.
Hi.
Yup.
Bonjour. Mademoiselle Louise.
Mashiro, please stop. It was Mashiro. Sannomiya shuddered for a second before glaring at her.
あれ Bonjour.
I mean, I guess she's trying?
Bonjour. ボンジュールで合ってたんだ。よかった。ちょっと自信なかったんだ。
Awkward silence. Mashiro darted her eyes back and forth, perhaps looking for a topic of conversation, before resting those eyes on the book Sannomiya was holding.
おーっと、趣味が読書とは渋いね。私の友達も本好きなんだけどさ。そう。その本は私も読んだことあるよ。名作だよね。SF ジュブナイルのマスターピースだよね。
Is it gonna be a manga?
ね
No matter what Mashiro said, Sannomiya would not humor her with a proper reply. Natsuhiko held his breath, watching their little exchange out of the corner of his eye.
何か用なの？
Oh no.
いや、そのせっかくクラスメートになったんだしさ、友達になりたいってだけなんだけど。
Mashiro said, heeding Sannomiya's wish not to be treated as a younger child. However, Sannomiya herself merely furrowed her eyebrows in displeasure. That's enough, Mashiro. Give up. She's clearly rejecting you. Natsuhiko was about to stop Mashiro, but right before he could, Sannomiya murmured.
好きにすればいい。
Okay. An unexpected reaction. He was sure she was going to reject her.
やった！それじゃあ改めて自己紹介ね。私は鳥羽真白で、こっちは友達の夏彦。
Yeah, we're gonna get glared at, like, hardcore. Natsuhiko jumped, startled to hear his own name come up.
おいマシロ、勝手に僕まで紹介するなよ。
何を固いこと言ってんの？友達の友達は友達でしょ？
Okay.
さあ、ほらほら、挨拶して、年長者から。
Mashiro pulled Natsuhiko to his feet by the arm. So there really was no way he could back down at this point.
天下は夏彦
Yeah,
です。
nice to meet you. I'm sorry, you probably hate me.
よろしく。
Okay.
さて、なんて呼んだらいいかな？三宮さん、ルイーズちゃん、ユイニャン。どれも可愛い名前だから迷うな。別にどれでも。そうだ、その3つを縮めてサリュっていうのはどう？
You combined all three to come up with that nickname?
おいおいマシロ、早速あだ名って慣れ慣れしすぎないか？
いやいや、やっぱ友達との距離を近くするのはあだ名ですよ。ユーリもそう言ってました。
Oh, jeez. Oh, God, who should I... Alright, we'll take Sannomiya down just a little bit. Yeah, let's do that.
ねえどう？サリュってのは私としては可愛いと思うんだけどな。うん、別にそれでもいい。本当？
Mashiro nodded to herself repeatedly. Huh. Natsuhiko was a little surprised at how easily the nickname was approved.
意外と素直だな。もしかして気に入った？ この
まあ
Apparently, yes. She answered quite simply. But did she really like it? Or was it just she was sick of Mashido talking and wanted to get it over with? Probably the latter, I'd say.
じゃあサリュー、これからよろしくね。
Sannomiya, now christened Salyu, had begun the day with a thoroughly cold attitude. But just like that, she was gradually eased into becoming Mashido and Natsuhiko's new friend. The first lesson of the day was English. A clear voice rang out in the silent classroom.
It is only with the heart that one can see lightly.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I've heard worse.
What is essential is invisible to the eye.
Yeah, good job. Salyu was chosen by the teacher right off the bat to read out of the textbook. Once Salyu finished reading, the teacher spoke.
Excellent! 適切な発音でとても美しかったわ。
Oh, the teacher's not going to speak in English?
それでは日本語訳はできますか、三宮さん。
心でしか人は正確に物を見ることができない。肝心な点は目には見えない。
That's right! では座って結構ですよ。
The English teacher's pronunciation is actually worse, I would say. Salyu slid back into her seat, her expression remaining unchanged despite the praise. The unconcerned look on her face perhaps implied she didn't really think it was that big of a deal.
ではこの例文の文法ですが。
With complete disregard to the teacher who was continuing the lesson, Mashido whispered.
サリュー、さすがいい発音だね。聞き惚れちゃったよ。
Aww. But Salyu merely turned her head and looked the other way.
釣れない。
そりゃそうだ。授業中だぞ。前見ろよ、マシロ。
But despite accosting Mashido for doing the same thing, Natsuhiko sneaked a peek at Salyu himself. She gazed listlessly at the screen with a look on her face that made her seem quite hard to approach. A child prodigy, huh? Perhaps there really were a concrete, let's try that again. Perhaps there really were concrete things that separated the geniuses from the ordinary. If only she had some sort of weak spot, we could use that to find some common ground. At least that's what Natsuhiko thought, but the next class was physical education, which only gave Salyu an opportunity to display even more talent. Salyu? With a yell, Salyu did a handstand leg spread. Salyu? And without falling over, she proceeded to cross the balance beam while spinning around. That's actually pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. She got all of the talent. The teacher and students cheered. Even Natsuhiko and Mashido watched with gaping mouths.
すごい。なんか格ゲーのキャラみたいな動きしてるよ。
ああ、たかが体育の授業なんだ。
It's like, yeah, this is phys ed, right? The phys ed teacher merely instructed the students to use the balance beam in a freestyle performance, and yet she calmly bowled off that bold move. It appeared it wasn't just her intelligence that was superior to the ordinary 13-year-old, but her physical ability too.
天は彼女に難物を与えりゃ気が済むんでしょうか。美貌、知性、身体能力がそれや大三元だよ。100万だよ。
マシロ、例えが親父臭いぞ。
はは、しかもこの学校に来ている以上 PC も当然使えるってことは大三元どころか大数詞。やばいね。パーフェクトガールだよ。
While Mashido was getting herself excited, Natsuhiko only had a vague feeling that something wasn't right. Why would a girl like that bother transferring to a school like ours? Probably to study BC, but could there be some other reason? Perhaps since his meeting with her left such an impression, there were quite a few things that bugged him about her. But in the end, aside from Saryu's bold move, nothing particularly odd happened that period. And thus, morning classes came to a close. After lunch break, an extracurricular lesson was scheduled for the afternoon classes. The students were to board a bus for a field trip to an outside facility. Oh, Natsuhiko and the others left the school with Enna. And as they waited at the bus stop in front of the school gate, Mashido talked to Salyu again.
サリュー、学食美味しかった？
普通。
They were apparently talking about the food they ate just a while ago. Normal, huh? Just how long is she gonna keep up the lone wolf act?
ただ、少し驚いた。
How so?
え？何に？
食事を自ら買うというシステムに。
Hmm?
食事はすべて運ばれてくるものだと思っていたから。
Natsuhiko couldn't help but interject at her odd statement.
食事が運ばれてくるだって？お嬢様学校みたいなところだとそうなのか？
お嬢様学校とやらの定義がよくわからないけど、
She's not even
自
offended.
分で食事を買い求めたのは初めて。
Really?
そういうものか。
Natsuhiko was taken a little by surprise, but Mashido, on the other hand, spoke calmly.
はあ、さすがおフランスの学校ってのはハイソなんだね。まあ他にもよくわからないことがあったら何でも質問してよ。
That's nice. That's sweet.
わからないこと。
Aww. Salyu pondered Mashido's offer for a little bit, and then
あれは何？
she pointed to outside the school gate and inquired. Saryu's finger was aimed at a camera overlooking the street in plain sight.
ああ、監視カメラだよ。
監視カメラ。生徒を監視するための？
違うよ。不審者が学校に入ってこないように見
I
張
mean,
ってる
it's
だけ。
kinda used for both, let's be honest.
そういえば、昨日街の中でもあれを見かけた。どこにでもあるの？
そう。監視カメラは6名士の至るところにあって、犯罪者に睨みを利かせているのさ。
Mashido explained pridefully. The security cameras established high levels of public order within the city.
おかしな街。何か奇
Yeah,
妙な
that
感
is
じが
kind of
す
weird,
る。
isn't it?
確かにちょっと特殊かもね。この町はほら、政令指定機密都市だからさ。
Let's see. Whoops, no, don't quit game. Don't quit game. Was that not? How did I? There we go. I was like, how do I get the tips back up? I forgot. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do these now. A top secret city dedicated to the advancement of BC research, the protection of communicators, and the promotion of correct BC knowledge. In accordance with the enactment of BC law, 6 such cities were designated by BC Research Special Committee. The flow of people in and out of each such city is strictly regulated under the pretense of protecting communicators from persecution and preventing industrial spies from stealing BC research results. Each street that passes into a top secret city has an inspection gate. Though they are not at the level of a closed city secrecy in the way of Pripyat was not found on maps until after Chernobyl's nuclear reactor disaster, from an outside perspective, these cities do appear to have some similar aspects. Regardless, these governments' designated cities were a success, and at present, over 90% of the communicators live in them. However, not all residents outside of Dokume City see its tax reductions and other benefits as positives. Some cynically see the benefit as a sign that the city is a biased ward for the preferential treatment of communicators. Goodness. Okay, did I miss anything else? I don't think I did. I think we're good. Okay. Let's go ahead and save that. All right.
それは何？
多分この国独特の制度なんだけど。
I'm sure there's a lot of Japan-only things, right?
そうだ、夏彦、整形とか得意でしょ。説明してあげてよ。
僕
It seemed like Mashido wanted to make Natsuhiko and Salyu talk. Natsuhiko sighed and started explaining.
つまりさ、この市は政府による科学特区指定がなされていて、治安第一の条例が敷かれているんだよ。そのためにいろいろと特殊な制度や街頭設備があるんだ。監視カメラはその一環さ。
What is Mashido's face right now? She's like deep in thought.
他にどういう得意点が？
まず転居するにも複雑な手続きが必要なこととか、町に出入りするだけでも市役所に届けを出さなければならない。
Yeah, that's weird.
どうしてそこまで。
研究施設が多い以上、産業スパイとかに狙われる可能性を憂慮してセキュリティには万全が期されているってことらしい。国策に関わる重要な研究も数多く行われてるから、研究成果の流出を警戒
It's
し
a
てる
little
んだ。
too secretive, don't you think?
そうそう、噂じゃ電話とかメールもフィルタリングされているって話だよ。
Wow.
どうサリュー、そういうの聞くと街全体が秘密研究所って感じしない？ SF っぽくてかっこいいでしょ。
She's like, Salyu stared in wonder at Mashido's pressing question.
また真白の妄想が始まったか。生まれた時から住んでると普通の光景だろ。監視カメラだって警官パトロール中の張り紙みたいなもんだ。心にやましいところがなければ気にもならない。
でも少々過剰な警備のように思える。
Yeah, a little bit.
いやいや、ちょっと過剰なくらい警備した方が安心できるんだよ。
No.
何しろこの街にはあれがあるからさ。
Mashido pointed to the bus stop's provided map as she spoke. And drawn on the edge of that map, the outskirts of town, was a huge hexagonal building.
あれは
ラボだよ。鹿鳴市最大の研究施設で日本を代表する原子力研究所だよ。
Alright, let's see what they got to say about Labo. Labo! Where you at? Where'd you go? It's gotta be around here somewhere. Right? Did I go too far? Nope. Okay, here it is. A nuclear research facility on the outskirts of Dokume City. Its full name is the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization. Though it is nationally owned facility, Dokume City is entrusted with its control and management. Due to the fact that the facility is equipped with a small nuclear reactor for research purposes, and because of the need to protect the secrecy of important research related to national affairs, security is strict around the vicinity of Rabo. You cannot even get within 10 kilometers of the facility without first passing through a security gate, and even if you sneak past the gate, the path to Labo is equipped with countless surveillance cameras, and further inside is a private task force above the law, equipped with rubber bullet guns. Though the entire thing may seem excessive, the fact remains that the government subsidies granted to Labo make Dokume City that is easy to live in. None of the citizens seem to let it bother them, figuring just to let sleeping dogs lie. I don't think that's a dog you want to sleep there. Natsuhiko stiffened at the sound of those words, because that was the very same singular thing that bothered him about the city. Labo, its proper name being the 6th Laboratory of Atomic and Biological Organization. An independent administrative corporation that developed technology and conducted research on atomic energy and its biological effects. It was a national facility, but its management was entrusted to Dokume City. One thing was special about this facility. There was a small-scale nuclear reactor housed within the premises for research purposes. They used it to perform several tasks from nuclear fission experiments to nuclear fusion reactor development, an enormously profitable field of research. And for the risks of the research brought, the national government provided subsidies to the city. As a result, the formerly ordinary Dokume City was reborn as the city of scientific research it was today. In terms of economics, industry, and science altogether, Labo could very well be said that it's the town's core.
産業スパイが狙うとしたらあそこだよ。世界でも最先端の設備や研究者が揃ってるって話だし。そして夏彦のお母さんはその代表なんだよね。
Yeah, she is. Mashido smiled as she brought up the subject.
まあね。
But Natsuhiko looked slightly ashamed about it. Natsuhiko's mother, Dr. Miyoko Tenkawa, was a researcher at Labo. Natsuhiko didn't quite know everything about her credentials, but he knew that she was an apparently world-leading physicist. However, Natsuhiko wasn't very fond of his cool-headed researcher of a mother. True, I guess the research results Mom's team produces do provide the city with huge profits. And both the town's prosperity and our livelihoods benefit from it, but still. True enough, Natsuhiko's mother had quite a high salary. But despite that fact, Natsuhiko really did not like the facility of Labo itself that much. And it wasn't just because he didn't get along with his mother. The real reason had to do with Natsuhiko's personal past. Yes, give us that sweet, sweet backstory. If only I didn't go to Labo that day. Bitter regret spread through his heart.
何夏彦、急に黙り込んで。
ああ。なんでもないよ。それよりバスはまだかな。
There it is. The moment he said that, the bus came rolling in.
はい、皆さん。席順は決まってないから適当に乗り込んでね。
それじゃあ2人とも近くの席に座ろうよ。
ああ、いいよ。なんか他の男子に睨まれそうだけど。
Yeah, maybe because you're sitting with two adorable girls. Salyu looked like she wanted to say something. But eventually, she just nodded at Mashiro's words and boarded the bus.
さて、みんな着いたわよ。
Anna called out to her students.
ここが六名士における BC 研究のメッカ、超心理学研究所よ。
The Rokume City Parapsychology Research Center, or the PRC for short. As Rokume City's largest BC research facility, it had achieved many research breakthroughs in the past.
それじゃあ早速中に入ってみましょう。
Okay. Natsuhiko and the rest of the class followed Enna, who seemed oddly excited for the field trip. She's probably all about it too. Once the class was inside, a staff member in charge of guiding visitors began explaining various things relating to the facility and BC in general.
ここはオフィスとなっておりまして、各種実験データの分析などを行っております。主に生物学的見地から BC 使用時の脳の働きとその関連性を。
Mashiro and the other student listened on curiously, but Natsuhiko was completely inattentive. For a cutting-edge research facility, they've got pretty ordinary-looking office. He was merely pondering dumb thoughts like that. In contrast to Natsuhiko, the most curious of them all was...
なるほど、勉強になります。
Their leader, Enna.
BC 粒子関連の研究なんかもここで行っているんですか？
そういった研究は別の研究室で行っております。機密レベルが高いのでお見せできませんが。
Is she a spy? That would be cool, actually.
例えばある研究
She
室で
does know how
は
to use a gun.
脳内におけるマインド粒子の作用およびワンダラー粒子との相互作用について研究しております。
BC 使用時に脳内で発生するエネルギー量の測定、分析などは？
I'm sorry, what?
そういったことももちろんやっておりますよ。例えばレベル4のコミュニケーターの方の場合、最大10マイクロスカラーバリュー程度のエネルギー量が。
And thus, Enna and the staff member essentially had a one-on-one conversation, ignoring the students. And eventually, the field trip came to a close.
はい、どうでしたか皆さん？面白かったわね。
As they left the facility, Enna spoke to the lined-up students.
一番面白がってたのは先生じゃないです
Yeah,
か。
right?
途中から専門用語だらけで置いてかれちゃいましたよ。
A few students laughed at Mashiro's jab.
そうね、ごめんなさい。他の先生とああいう話はできないからちょっと盛り上がってしまって恥ずかしいわ。ともかくこれで今日の授業は終わりです。学校に帰るバスもあるけど現地解散も OK よ。
It's such a chill school.
皆さん帰り道に気をつけてね。家に着くまでが課外授業ですよ。
And with that piece of advice, the field trip was over. No, it's not over until you get home. Did you not just listen to what she said? The students dispersed in every which way. Since Natsuhiko and the others were not part of any clubs and thus had no business on campus after school, They decided to head straight home.
し、そんじゃ夏彦帰ろっか。
そうだな。
Natsuhiko half-heartedly replied, "Oh man, I'm kind of tired." The sharp-sighted Enna caught sight of Natsuhiko's yawn and called out to him.
お疲れのご様子ね、天川くん。
What of it? What of it?
先生。
Enna smiled dryly when Natsuhiko twitched.
ダメよ。課外授業中もぼーっとしていたでしょう。
It's because his mom works here.
すみません。
天川くんは超心理学があまり好きじゃないのかしら。担当教師としては悲しいんだけど。
違うんです先生。
ただ
実は僕 BC ってもの自体が苦手なんですよ。理由は一口じゃ説明できないんですが。
Natsuhiko spoke what was on his mind. Upon which, Mashido cut in beside him.
夏彦も昔はこんなに BC 嫌いじゃなかったんですけど、年々苦手意識が
So
強くな
something
っちゃって
happened in the past. It has to be.
なるほどね。でもそういう人は昔から多いわ。
Enna smiled somewhat sadly as she spoke.
私はそんな人々の意識をできれば変えたいと思ってるのよ。そのために超心理学の教師になったようなものなの。
That's a noble cause, if it is actually the case and she's not a spy.
私自身はコミュニケーターでもないのにね。ちょっと変かしら。
いや、ちっとも変じゃないです。
Natsuhiko struggled to find a reply. Just as Enna said, she was a parapsychology teacher but couldn't use BC in the slightest. But for someone of Enna's generation, that was only natural. The great worldwide communicator boom only began about 16 years ago, after all. The vast majority of those born before that couldn't use BC. Even their teachers at Rokume Academy were no exception. However, Natsuhiko was somewhat fond of having a female teacher this close to his own age. And so in a rare display of goodwill, Natsuhiko gave reluctant words of encouragement.
立派だと思います。超心理学の教師になりたがる人は少ないと聞きますから。
ありがとう。
でも先生はどうしてそんな志を持ったんですか？先生の世代の方が BC 嫌いの人が多いって聞きますけど。
それはね、鳥羽さん。そうすることが今後の社会にとって
Okay.
とても大切なことだ
I
と思
thought
って
she was
い
gonna be
る
like, I was saved by a BC user. Enna's face suddenly turned serious at that point in the conversation.
これから人と人との関わり方は大きく変わってくる。きっと社会の在り方もね。今各国では BC の研究とコミュニケーターの保護に力を入れているし、誰もがその可能性に期待しているわ。
可能性って言いますと？
例えばテレパシーでは感情を対象者に直接伝えることができるじゃない？これはいずれ精神治療の分野に応用できるだろうと考えられているのよ。例えば思いっきり明るい感情を対象者に送り込めば精神疾患の原因となる感情を駆逐できるかもしれないってね。
なるほど。それっていい使い方ですね。
Yeah, so there's also bad use case scenarios.
ひょっとしたらうちの学校からもそういうニュータイプなセラピストが出てくるかもしれないね。
ええ。でもその一方で、扱い方を間違えたら危険なものでもある。
Because she could learn how to like break somebody's mind, right?
BC の歴史はまだ浅いもの。これが社会にとって良い技術になるのか悪い技術になるのかまだ誰にもわからない。でもせっかくなら良い技術になるよう若いコミュニケーターたちを導いてあげたい。そう思ったから私はこの仕事を志したのよ。
It checks out. Enna was usually playful, but not here. She spoke with a serious tone of voice.
先生かっこいいです。尊敬しちゃいます。
そう言ってもらえると教師冥利に尽きるわ。
As Enna spoke, she glanced at Natsuhiko.
だからこそね、天川くん。私は生徒のみんな
Yeah,
に
yeah,
は
I get it. I get it.
BC に対し 正しい理解をしてほしいのよ。
はい。
今日の課外授業もいつもの実習も全てはそのためのカリキュラムなの。その対象を知ろうともしないまま嫌っちゃダメよ。
I think he has other reasons. It's not. There's got to be more. I feel like something happened in the past that traumatized him, so he doesn't want to use BC, at least subconsciously. And that's why he's not able to do it anymore unless it's in emergency situations.
なるほど。わかりました。なるべく努力します。
今はそれで十分よ。
And with that, Anna turned back.
それじゃあ先生職員の人にもう一度挨拶してくるわ。また明日学校でね。
はい。また明日。
先生さようなら。
Oh, bye. And with that exchange of farewells, they parted ways with Enna. And once Enna was out of earshot, Mashido accosted Natsuhiko with a mischievous smile.
やれやれ。夏彦はえな先生の前では素直なんだからね。
そう見えたか？
そりゃね、努力しますとか言っちゃって、そんなこと大して思ってないくせに。
I might. Bullseye. He himself had forgotten in the heat of the moment, but Natsuhiko staunchly hated BC. His classmates were mastering telepathy one by one, but no matter how much time had passed, Natsuhiko remained at ability level 0. He would completely lose motivation during parapsychology lessons, even now when Enna was the parapsychology teacher.
いや、でもな、正直に答えたら先生が傷つくだけだろ。
まあね、先生本当に BC が好きみたいだ。
She does have an interest.
いや、多分それだけじゃないぞ。扱い方を間違えたら危険と言ってたし。過去に BC 絡みで何か嫌な目にあったのかもな。だからきっとあんなに真剣に話してた。
Well, Natsuhiko.
さすがよく見てる。
Right as Mashido said that, a voice suddenly came up from behind.
あなたたちもそう思う？
What? They turn around in surprise to see Salyu standing there behind them.
サリュどうしたのやぶから棒に。
あなたたちもそう思うって何が？
BC は扱い方を間違えたら危険だって。
Yeah, I think so. That was the first time Salyu was the one to initiate a conversation. Natsuhiko answered, somewhat surprised.
いや、まあ、昔からそういう風に言われているよ。
フランスでは違うの？
さあ。
What?
さあって、何が言いたいんだ？
別に意見を聞きたかっただけ。
Okay.
用は済んだ。それじゃ。
Bye, I guess. And with that, Salyu promptly tried to leave.
おい。
ちょっと待ってサリュ。
何？
せっかくだから一緒に帰らない？もうすぐ住宅街方面のバスが出るから。
断る。行くところがあるから。
Where are you going, Salyu? Salyu turned down Mashido's offer and walked away, leaving just the two of them behind.
なんだあれ。
不思議ちゃんだね。
Definitely full of mysteries. After a moment of confusion, they headed to the bus stop, still at a loss to explain what had happened. Natsuhiko and Mashido boarded the bus back home.
それにしてもあの子、やっぱりちょっと妙だな。
Mashido turned her head to the side in response to Natsuhiko's comment.
何？サリュのこと？
だってそうだろ。急に妙な質問したり、そのくせ質問の意味は話さなかったり、なんかじっと見られたかと思えば距離を置かれたり、どういうつもりかさっぱりわからない。
何それ、寂しいこと言わないでよ。せっかく友達になったのに。多分サリは緊張してるだけだよ。明日からは一緒に帰ってくれるって。
そうかな。向こうが本当に友達だと思ってるかどうか怪しいもんだ。
Don't say that.
もう
Aw.
夏彦ガード硬すぎ。昔はそんな子じゃなかったでしょ。誰とでも気軽に友達になってたじゃん。
そりゃ子供の頃の話だろ。高校生にもなれば人との付き合い方も
It
変わ
is
る
very
さ。
different in high school.
お堅いな。困ったもんだね、まったく。
As soon as Mashido finished speaking, an announcement rang out on the bus's speakers.
次は6名公演6名公演
Mm-hmm.
お降りの方はお手元のボタンを押してください。
Alright, let's see what we got. Okume Park is where? Is it way down here at the bottom? There's still so many words I haven't come across. It's insane. Okay. The nature park on the outskirts of Dokume City. The vast grounds have many amenities. Wow, I can't read. For citizens to relax, such as a grassy square, a pond with rental boats, a botanical garden, and a cycling course. It is a nostalgic place for Natsuhiko, as where he first met Yuri, and where he strangely got along with Mashiro after initially butting heads with her. It's still a suitable playground for children as it was in the past, but there are several surveillance cameras set up among the greenery. They are installed as a precaution due to the park's proximity to the city gate. But since they are casually placed within the greenery, they have many blind spots. Is that where the date, the flashback date was for Watase? Was it? I feel like it was.
6名公演だって。久しぶりだね。
ん？ああ、子供の頃はよくここで遊んだな。
And true enough, outside the window was a huge park. Since they usually didn't take this way back, the bus route was different.
ねえ、せっかく子供の頃の話が出たんだし、ちょっと寄っていかない？
やだよ。ここで降りたら家まで結構歩かなきゃならないぞ。
都心に帰ろうよ。
まあ、そんなに言うならいいけどさ。
There was something persuasive about Mashido's persistence. Natsuhiko pressed the stop button out of necessity. Once they got off the bus, a park spread out before them. Yeah, this is the park it has to be. A refreshing afternoon breeze blew through the trees.
いやー、懐かしいね。何年ぶりかな。
何年だろう。最後、いつ来たかも覚えてないな。
あの頃は子供たちみんなここに集まってさ、夏彦中心に遊んだよね。
Aww.
レンレンとか、ひみっちとか、アイポンとか。
What kind of names are those? Oh. Mashido started listing the friends they had back then by the nicknames she had made up for them. And sure enough, hearing all those names made Natsuhiko feel nostalgic.
ああ、そうだな。リチオとか、杉蔵とか、丸一なんてやつもいたな。
みんな元気かな。
元気だよ。
I hope so. Natsuhiko offered words of mere consultation. They pretty much hadn't seen any of their friends from back then in a long time. Natsuhiko and Mashido attended Dokume Academy, a school exclusively for communicators. And aside from Natsuhiko, Mashido, and Yuri, none of the other kids had any aptitude as communicators. The paths their lives took diverged, and after years and years, they had simply found themselves going their separate ways.
でもさ、あの頃の夏彦ってほんと友達作るのうまかったよね。
ん？そうか？
学校が違っても年が違っても、この公園で会ったことは誰でも友達になってたでしょ。
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
ユーリだって後から引っ越してきたのにすぐに仲良くなったもんね。
まあな。
What do we got? Oh yeah, we're gonna be friends with her. That's fine. True enough, that was the sort of kid Natsuhiko was, which is why he made friends with Yuri, even though she was 2 years older than he was.
それがどうして今じゃ転校生を受け入れられない
Hey, be nice.
なるほど、そうきたか。
That's why she
そ
brought
の
you up.
話をするために僕をここに連れてきたんだな。
Yep.
にしひ、どうだろうね。
Yeah. That's the face of somebody who did that on purpose. Mashido smiled deviously.
まあある意味では夏彦もあの頃から変わってないなって気もするけどさ。だって昔から反りが合わない子には厳しいところもあったじゃない？
そうだっけ？
そうだよ。例えば私に対してとか。
Oh yeah?
え？
Natsuhiko stared blankly at her after hearing such a sudden statement.
僕が？お前に厳しくしてたって？
ああひどい。覚えてないんだ。ほらこの公園でよく喧嘩したじゃん。
Oh, did you?
喧嘩って。
That word suddenly jogged something in Natsuhiko's memory. It was something that had happened 10 years ago. Natsuhiko and Mashido were having a fight in the park that day.
何さ夏彦の提灯フグ。
What?
なんだよ真っ白のすべすべまんじゅうガニ。
Wow, okay, guys. They were fighting over something as trivial as Mashido calling Natsuhiko's favorite superhero show boring. Aww, a flustered Yuri watched the fight from the sidelines.
夏彦くん、ましろちゃん、喧嘩はやめてよ。
She's so cute.
ユーリは黙ってろ。
黙ってろって？
Aww.
何さ夏彦、ユーリに向
You're
かっ
gonna
て
make
偉
Yuri
そう
cry.
にこの野蛮人。
何を？
The two of them glared at each other, leaving Yuri alone. At this point in time, Natsuhiko and Mashido had each already started to get along with Yuri. But there was still terrible animosity between Natsuhiko and Mashido.
大体何？なんとかまんじゅうがにって意味わかんないよ。
お前の方がわかんねえよ。真っ白のバーカバーカ。
Wow, okay. That was kind of adorable. Not as adorable, but still. Back in the day, Natsuhiko and Mashido often fought over every little thing like this. Natsuhiko would get along with everyone else, but for some reason, he had a hard time with Mashido.
付き合ってらんない。
Aww. Eventually, Mashido threw down a sharp parting remark and walked away.
そりゃこっちのセリフだ。
Natsuhiko turned around and shouted back. That was an everyday occurrence for those two, so they would always meet and then fight and leave. Eventually, Yuri complained as she watched Mashido walk away.
もうどうして夏彦くんってましろちゃんとはいつも喧嘩ばっかりなの？
だってあいつ女なのに生意気なんだもん。
Come on.
昔から何かっていうと僕に噛みついてきてさ。
Natsuhiko and Mashido's houses were nearby, so they knew each other before they could remember. They went to the same kindergarten, and therefore they had more fights than they could count.
でも夏彦くん、正義のヒーローに憧れてるんでしょ？
Oh, is that the case? Do you want to be a hero?
だったら女の子と喧嘩しちゃダメじゃない？
Hit him right where it hurts. Yuri hit a weak spot. Natsuhiko had a strong sense of justice. He was a boy who wouldn't hesitate to challenge bullies that were bigger than him. So, he yearned to be the sort of champion of justice that he saw on manga or TV. And Yuri was right, but...
でも真っ白は口は悪いしパンチも痛いし
She hurts when she punches me.
あいつはきっと悪の手先なんだ。
No.
そんなことないよ。ましろちゃんはいい子だよ。女の子で一番最初に私の友達になってくれたしね。
Hold on. That face is adorable. Oh my god. That's so cute. Yuri vouched for Mashido with a warm voice. Yuri was 2 years older than Natsuhiko, so he wouldn't get into a fight with her. What Natsuhiko expected of girls was that they'd be gentle and mature like Yuri. In other words, the exact opposite of Mashido. Mashido was his age and just as strong-willed as he was, which is probably why they would often bump heads.
もっと二人が仲良くな
Oh,
ってく
we
れ
gotta
れば
make Yuri
私は
happy.
嬉しいんだけどね。
We have to.
そんな日はきっと来ないね。
Wow, really? Natsuhiko exaggerated. Mashino teased Natsuhiko as he remembered that incident.
どう思い出した？
ああ、まあ。
True enough, it was as Mashiro said. They were mortal enemies back when they were kids.
まあ、そのなんだ。過去は過去。今は今だよ。
Of course.
まあね、あの頃は夏彦と仲良くなるなんて予想もできなかったからね。
Probably, yeah.
人間関係なんて後々どうなるかわからないな。
そうだよ。だからサリともさ、ちゃんと仲良くしてあげてね。
Easier said than done, Natsuhiko thought as he objected.
いや、だからさ、誰にでも気さくに話しかけられたのは子供だったからだって。というか、壁を作ってるのはサリュの方じゃないのか？クラスの女子に話しかけられてもツンとしてたし。
そうかもしれないけど、だとしても考えてみてよ。あの態度も仕方ないじゃない？
何が？
だってフランスから日本へやってきてさ、しかもコミュニケーター専用の学校に転入するとなれば壁も作りたくなるよ。
Natsuhiko was taken aback by what Mashiro said. Certainly, from an outsider's perspective, Rokume Academy may indeed be a bizarre school. Communicators may have started appearing all across the world, but looking at humanity as a whole, they were still an exceptionally rare breed. For example, even in Japan, the proportion of ordinary people to communicators was said to be 25,000 to 1. And this school was filled with nothing but students who were that rare one. Natsuhiko couldn't even begin to imagine what an ordinary person would think.
例えばサリュが今まで一般人に囲まれて暮らしてたとしたら、やっぱ緊張しちゃうでしょ？
Yeah.
確かにな。エンパシーが使えるやつがそばにいるかもしれないって状況は考えてみれば怖いよな。
夏彦も心を読まれるのを恐れる口なんだね。
そりゃあまあ平気な人もいるかもしれないけど、僕はやっぱり怖いよ。
There probably wouldn't be any issue if telepathy were the only BC ability. However, the problem lied with the other ability, empathy. If telepathy was the ability to convey your mind to others, empathy was the ability to read the minds of others. So for that reason, a lot of ordinary people seem to fear communicators. There apparently used to be an anti-communicator discrimination in the past too, which was why the government enacted various policies in order to protect communicators. An example of such legislation was the Communicator Protection Bill, aka the BC Law, enacted 14 years ago. Let's read about it. It can't be that far down, right? Because there's only like one more thing at the bottom. Here we go, BC Law. Okay. A law that was passed on December 12th, 2015 and went into effect on April 1st, 2016 to protect the human rights of communicators. Its formal name is the BC Research Regulation and Communicator Human Rights Protection Law. The government became fearful of the possibility of communicator persecution in the aftermath of the Great Rokume City arson of September 2014, and as a precaution, they rapidly enacted a law with the intention of spreading correct knowledge about BC throughout the cities. The main point of the law was that it established 6 government-designated top-secret cities nationwide to gather and protect the communicators. A BC Research Special Committee was formed from the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, as well as the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. The committee was tasked to lead efforts in implementing the law, but while promoting correct understanding of BC was a noble cause, the committee did not quite understand BC themselves. The flustered and unsightly passing of the buck became a hot topic for variety shows and newspapers. Alright. Part of that plan included the establishment of communicator-friendly wards like Rokume City and special schools like Rokume Academy. The rare 1 out of 25,000 individuals naturally gathered to the city. About 350 communicators lived in the city, or 20% of all communicators currently in Japan. About 1 in 500 city residents were communicators. And thus, many communicators came to live in the same place and received focused protection. Japan led the world in performing such measures, and for its efforts, Japan became known as an advanced BC nation. Teach me more, Tips! Where are we at? Where'd we go? There we go. Okay, refers to a nation with a deep understanding of communicators that maintains communicator protective services and produces significant BC research results. Japan heads the list on such nations with its effort to gather its communicators into the protection of 6 government-designated top-secret cities that have provided environments conducive to smooth BC research. Opposition to the communicators in BC is strong in the West, so even if they were to establish similar locations, they would be unable to conduct public BC research. Opposition is particularly strong in France. Oh! With demonstrators calling for the extermination of BC continuing to this day. Really? France, you say?
まあ、フランスの情勢がよくわからないけど、環境は全然違うんだろうな。
そうそう。つまりサリはまだ新しい環境に慣れてないだけなんだよ。緊張するのも当然。だったら優しくしてあげなきゃね。
Mashida asked with a smile, which moved Natsuhiko. He was impressed by her consideration and attention to detail.
真っ白って、なんだ。いいやつだな。
She's always been a good person.
何言ってんの？昔の夏彦がやってたことを真似してるだけだよ。
そうなのか？昔の僕はいいやつだったってこと？
まあ、今も十分いいやつだけどね、夏彦は。意固地なのがたまに傷なんだよね。
そうかもな。
Natsuhiko gave a wry smile. He couldn't completely approve of Mashiro's viewpoint. After the years went by, his way of thinking solidified. It wasn't something that could be unlearned that easily. But nevertheless,
仕方ないな。真っ白に免じて
she did it.
少しは
She
警戒
broke
を
down
緩め
that
てみよ
wall.
うん、そのくらいでいいよ。今はそれが精一杯ってね。
う。なんだそれ。またアニメの引用か？
そう、私たちが生まれるずっと前のね。
Which one? Their conversation derailed before long. A calm breeze enveloped them, and thus the two of them spent some leisurely time at the park. Once the sun had set, they boarded the bus and headed home. The bus dropped them off at the stop closest to their homes. Mashiro would ordinarily stop by her house, but since they stayed out late, she went directly to the Tenkawa residence today. She got to make dinner. But by the time they had reached the house, Natsuhiko had noticed something strange. What? There was a jet black car parked out in front of his house.
高級車っぽいね。誰の車？
さあ。
With his head tilted to the side, Natsuhiko walked past the car and entered his home. They took their shoes off at the entrance and headed to the living room when...
ただいま。
Uh-oh. Yuri? Natsuhiko and Mashiro were greeted by an unbelievable sight.
Salyu!
What? Salyu was there in Tenkawa's living room. Yuri was standing there next to her with a smile.
子は何事？
What?
なんでサリュがここにいるんだ？
今日からここに住むことになったから。
Huh?
は？
Yeah, exactly.
なんでまた？ユーリ、君は何か聞いてるのか？
Yuri? Yuri didn't clearly answer whether or not she knew about the situation. Salyu spoke to Natsuhiko without giving Yuri a single glance.
これは決定事項。もう取り消せない。
決定事項って？
っていうかそもそもなんでサリュがうちに？
それは。
At that moment, a voice rang out from further inside the room.
私の一存よ。
Oh, it's his mom. Natsuhiko turned to the voice in disbelief.
久しぶりね、夏彦。
It's been a while? You don't come home at night?
母さん。
博士！
Really gonna call her professor? There stood Natsuhiko's mother, Miyoko Tenkawa, which meant that the car outside was probably a courtesy car for the professor. As a renowned physicist, she was extremely busy by nature. She was always stationed in Labo and very rarely came home, meaning her communication with her son was essentially non-existent.
しばらく連絡取れないと思ったらいきなりこれか。
仕事が忙しいんだもの、仕方ないじゃない。
まあそれはいいよ。それよりどういうことだ。サリュがうちに住むって。
ユイはフランスから引っ越してきた直後で住むところがまだ決まっていないの。
Okay, so why was it because of the kill all the BC users that she had to flee or what?
だからうちに住まわせることにしたの。
The professor called Salyu by her real name, Yui, somewhat intimately. But that only got on Natsuhiko's nerves.
僕らに相談もなしにか。だいたいサリュと母さんはどういう関係なんだよ。
遠縁の親戚よ。つまりあなたとも親戚。
What? Now that he thought about it, his mother's maiden name was Sannomiya. And he did get the feeling that she said she lived in France before, so perhaps they really were related, but still.
本当なのか、その話。
嘘をついてどうするの。私の祖父の妹の孫がフランス人と結婚して生まれたのがこの子よ。
Okay, sure.
あなたとは9親等離れているからほぼ他人だけれど。
いや、だったら余計にそんな子を住まわせるなんて。
いいじゃない。部屋は余っているんだから。
What, her room?
サリュはそれでいいのか。
異論はない。博士がそう言うなら従うだけ。
No objections.
そう。これは決定事項よ。
Okay, got it, sure.
もういいでしょ、夏彦。それじゃあ私、仕事が残ってるからラボに戻るわ。
勝手にしろ。
Natsuhiko lost his temper over how the professor slowed down for nobody. But the professor merely sighed and addressed Mashiro.
マシロちゃん、自己承諾になってごめんなさい。ゆうゆうよろしくね。
はい。でも。
It appeared not even Mashiro could quite understand the situation. She put a finger up to her temple and muttered in a worried tone.
随分急で、なんていうか、いろいろ大丈夫なんですか？
大丈夫よ。この家についての所持はユイにはすべて伝えて。
What's that mean?
そうなの、サリュ。
無論承知。
Okay.
夏彦と優里が一緒に暮らしていることも、真白がそれを知りながら食事を作りに通っていることも。
そうなの。ならいいんだけど、何も知らなかったら、なんていうか誤解されそうだからね。
Yeah, I could see that. Come on, Mashiro, that's not what's important here. The professor ignored Natsuhiko, the only one staunchly against the situation, and continued.
それじゃみんな、これから仲良くね。
Really? Bye. And with that, the professor slipped past Natsuhiko and left the house. Soon enough, the car's engine roared and she zoomed away.
相変わらず身勝手な。
Hearing Natsuhiko's murmur, Salyu spoke out.
私がこの家に住むと迷惑。
いや。
That's not the point. The point is we have mommy issues.
だとしたら話が違う。博士は夏彦たちは反対しないはずと言っていたのに。
Aww. When he heard that, Natsuhiko became furious again. Not at Salyu for saying that, but at his mother for her complete disregard for his and Yuri's opinions. Yuri strained to put on the smile on her face, somewhat uncomfortably.
やだな、夏彦。何暗い顔してんの？いいじゃない。住人が一人増えるのも賑やかできっと楽しいよ。
ああ、まあな。
Natsuhiko tried to sound amicable in front of Salyu. But in his heart of hearts, excitement wasn't exactly what he wanted. There was no way in hell I could have expected this. His life was changing drastically in ways he couldn't understand. He had just started to let his guard down, only for it to get pushed right back up. Mashiro made dinner that day, just like any other day. Everyone sat around the table. The only difference today was the addition of Salyu. The conversation was shockingly sparse. Mashiro asked Salyu various questions, but only received short, blunt answers. Yuri was here too, but Salyu basically didn't speak to her. Same with Natsuhiko. And thus, dinner ended without any improvement to the awkward atmosphere.
じゃあ3人とも私そろそろ帰るね。
Okay, bye.
ああ、今日もありがとう。
マシロ、また明日ね。
After Salyu gave a non-committal response, Mashiro sent her a fleeting glance and then spoke.
そんじゃ夏彦、ちょっとそこまで送ってくれる？
え？珍しいな。そんなことを言い出
Yeah,
す
she's got something she wants to tell you. Come on, dude. Read the room. Right as Natsuhiko began to talk. Oh, whoa. I missed it. Mashiro continued by means of telepathy. Hang on. No, just let me hear it.
察してよ。サリュの件で話したいことがあるんだよ。
Okay, so something she want to talk about regarding Saryu's situation.
そうだな。わかったよ。
ありがとう。
Natsuhiko nodded and left the house with Mashiro.
いやー、予想外のことになってきたね。
Mashiro said that with a wry smile as they left the entryway.
だな。
夏彦的には気が進まないって感じ？
僕は別にいいんだけど、問題は有利の気持ちだよ。
やっぱそこか。
急な環境の変化が有利の心の傷に触るんじゃないかって思ってさ。大丈夫かな？
Naturally, Mashiro was also aware of how Yuri's past experiences prevented her from going outside. Mashiro and Natsuhiko had consulted each other from time to time and agreed to quietly watch over her, but...
軽はずみな考えかもしれないけど、それに関してはむしろいい方向に働くかもよ。
どういうことだ？
有利は今のままじゃどうしたって社会に参加できないでしょ。それってやっぱり有利にとって良くないことだと思うんだ。
Got a point.
でもサリュが同居人になれば私たち以外の他人とも触れ合うことになるじゃん。
Put that one down a little bit. I'll leave Mashiro and Yuri up and we'll see what happens.
それは有利にもプラスになると思うし、博士もそう思ったからサリュを連れてきたんじゃないかな。
そうかな。
Natsuhiko could only halfway agree with that assessment. Mashiro's reasoning made sense, but he didn't expect that sort of thoughtfulness from his cold mother.
まあ、有利も見たところ、そんなに嫌がってはいなかったみたいだけど。
Sorry, Sadyu's gonna have to work a little bit before I trust her more, so Yuri gets the point.
それならなおグッドだね。まあ徐々に慣らしていこうよ。私もなるべく一緒にいるようにするしさ。
そうか。ごめんな、マシロ。お前にまで負担をかけて。
いいんだよ、そんなことは。それより気になるのはサリュの気持ちだよ。有利だけじゃなくてさ。
サリュの？
だってあの子やっぱり緊張してたじゃない？口数も少なかったし。
So that's how she read it.
緊張してたって？僕には単に感じ悪い子に見えたけど。
バカ、何言ってんの？大人げないんだから。あのね、夏彦、なんだかんだ言ってもあの子はまだ13歳の女の子なんだよ。
That is true. She's only 13.
年上の男子と同居することになって緊張しないわけないじゃん。もっと夏彦も話しかけて心をほぐしてあげてよ。
そうだな。
Natsuhiko couldn't bring himself to agree, but for now he decided to just go along with what she said.
わかった。なるべく努力するよ。
またその答え？
なあ、いや適当に答えてるわけじゃないんだけど。
まあいいよ。期待してるからね。それじゃあね、夏彦。また明日。
Bye.
なあ、またな。
Mashido patted Natsuhiko on the shoulder before walking off into the night. Jeez, she's so soft-hearted. That was also one of Mashido's good points, but...
僕が関わるとなると話は難しいぞ。
He muttered before heading back into the house, but then...
何が難しいの？
Salyu, hi, how you doing? A voice called out from the darkness of the entryway, startling Natsuhiko.
いたのか、サリュ。
今出てきた。夏彦が戻ってこないから。
See, she was worried!
真白との話聞いてた？
いや、何も。
Really now? Natsuhiko had some doubts, but he couldn't read anything out of Saryu's expression.
いや、どうでもいいような話だったんだけどさ。サリュが可愛いとかなんとか。
Natsuhiko tried to gloss things over, but immediately... The stuffed animal in Saryu's arms squealed. Natsuhiko was once again startled. At the same time, Saryu's expression stiffened.
サリュ
Is it real?
泣いたか？
それが何か？
Salyu answered as if it were only natural for it to squeal like that. What of it? Is there some sort of trick behind that thing? Salyu abruptly spoke in Natsuhiko's confusion.
夏彦は私を警戒しているのね。
え？いや、そんなことは。
だとしたら侵害。
Oh yeah?
私はあなたを守るためにここへ来たというのに。
What?
え？僕を守る？ちょっと待ってくれ。なんで君が僕を守るんだ？
博士に頼まれた。
母さんが？いやでも何から僕を守るって言うんだ？別に僕は何かの VIP ってわけじゃないのに。
博士曰く近頃はこの辺も物騒。いつ何に巻き込まれるかわからないとのこと。
So is that why Salyu can fight?
はあ？
Natsuhiko honestly couldn't understand Saryu's words or his mother's intentions. Salyu may have been good at sports and studies, but she would be the last person you'd imagine to be a bodyguard.
大体なんで君みたいな女の子に守られなきゃならないんだ。
Have a 13-year-old bodyguard?
ってまあ僕が君を守る義理もないけど。
私だって義理があるわけではない。
意味がわかんないよ。
I have no idea what's happening.
そもそも巻き込まれるって具体的には。
The moment he started to speak, Natsuhiko suddenly remembered what happened yesterday. Salyu was there at the scene of Ukita's accident.
これから君の周りでおかしなことが起こるかもしれない。だが一応注意だけはしておいてくれ。
Alright. Come to think of it, Mr. Ukita did say that. Natsuhiko couldn't help but feel that those words in that situation had something to do with all of this. Don't tell me that Saryu's arrival could have been one of those strange things Mr. Ukita was talking about. Or did he mean that even stranger things were going to start occurring? Did Salyu come here to protect Natsuhiko when that time came?
サリュ、母さんは僕に何か危険が迫ってると思っているのか？
詳しいことは私も知らない。ただ守れと言われただけ。
Salyu answered indifferently. Did she really not know the details, or did she merely not feel like answering? Natsuhiko couldn't even tell.
とにかく夏彦は素直に私に守られるべき。そう警戒されると私としても行動しにくい。
Okay, I'll trust you. Boom. I know, it's like, she's gonna have to work her way up to get my trust, and then I immediately am like, okay.
そして邪険にされると嫌な気持ちになる。
Aww.
やめて。
それは申し訳ない。
Sorry. Natsuhiko was overwhelmed by her persuasive power. She was sent here to protect me? What's this girl saying? Natsuhiko gazed at Salyu, not quite understanding what was going through her head. Well, this is awkward. Come on, guys. But she showed no intention of talking whatsoever. Should I try to ask her what she means? Would she even humor me with an answer, though? As Natsuhiko mulled over his choices, Salyu abruptly spoke up.
夏彦。星、好き。
Stars?
星
What? Salyu pointed up. What? And sure enough, there were countless stars floating above.
別に好きでも嫌いでもないけど、
そう。
それがどうかして。
Salyu cut Natsuhiko off before he could finish.
夏彦の名前の意味って何？
The meaning?
はい
Natsuhiko stumbled over his words like a fool in light of her barrage of questions.
さあ
Like he's like, what are you talking about?
意味なんかあるのかな。
夏に生まれたの。
Oh, is that okay? Sorry. I was like, is she going to say more? Because I wanted to explain Natsu means summer, but it's right there in the English text. Okay.
ああ、6月生まれ。
So
だ
Natsu
からかな。
Natsu is summer, he is day, and Ko is child. Is it that literal of a name though?
そう。
A somehow tense silence fell between them. Salyu ignored Natsuhiko's bewilderment and subtly continued the conversation.
名前には何らかの意味が込められている。
Okay.
意味のない名前なんてない。
Really? That's what you think?
そういうものか。
そういうもの。あなたたちの名前も意味深い。
何の話？
What are you talking about?
気づいてない？まあ、偶然だろうとは思うけど。
What do you mean?
気づいてないも何も。
He didn't understand her in the slightest.
意味があるといえば、サルというあだ名もそう。真白は何も考えずつけたのだと思うけど、サリュとはフランス語でヤーという意味。すなわち挨拶、コミュニケーションの始まり。
Okay.
まあ、そうなんだ。
That was all news to him, but he wasn't going to let her know that.
さらに言えば、日本語にもサイルユという響きの似た言葉がある。
Sairuiru?
サイルユ？
I've never heard that word.
知らないの？
No.
知らない。
I'm glad I'm not the first one.
夏彦は無知。日本人のくせに。
I'm only half, so half pass. Even though she's way better than I am. The sudden disparagement annoyed Natsuhiko. What the hell's going on? Can we get this conversation over with already? The moment that thought crossed Natsuhiko's mind, Saryu's stuffed animal let out a weirder cry than before. Salyu gasped when she heard it. Why did she gasp? Salyu looked at the utterly confused Natsuhiko with gloomy eyes.
では、私は日課があるので失礼する。
What?
ちょっと。
What? Salyu ignored Natsuhiko and darted back inside. Is Yuri just like watching from a distance?
なんだ今のは。
Natsuhiko was at his wit's end, not understanding a lick of what occurred. And it didn't look like he could find an answer by just thinking about it. Only questions piled up. So in the end, he never heard what exactly she meant by protecting him. But still, honestly, what's with that girl? Saryu's attitude was the same as when they parted ways at the Parapsychology Research Center earlier that day. Natsuhiko stood alone at the entryway, pondering Saryu's words. But still, protecting me how? Saryu's words were most likely not being made out of the kindness of her heart. She appeared to be begrudgingly following Dr. Tenkawa's orders. Why did Mom really order Salyu to do that? After all, Rokume City excelled in public order. Very rarely did anyone get dragged into a crime. But even so, there was something that bothered him. Now that I think about it, Mr. Ukita's part of Labo's staff. He's Mom's co-worker. What if that car crash wasn't an accident? What if some circumstances are causing those with connections to Labo to be targeted? He considered the thought for a moment, but he couldn't think of any rationale behind it. Why would the professor give neither Natsuhiko nor Salyu a proper explanation? Furthermore, did Salyu really come up just to protect Natsuhiko? Natsuhiko muttered to himself and quit trying to think about it. Doesn't look like there's going to be any real harm done, so we'll just leave things as they are. If thinking won't solve something, then just try not to think about it. That was the mantra of Natsuhiko's lifestyle. But even so, Natsuhiko had a faint worry in the back of his mind. The worry that events he couldn't see were slowly coming to a head. Natsuhiko took a quick look at his watch and realized it was already past 8 p.m. He pulled himself together and hopped back through the entryway into his home. Yuri, you okay? In the living room, Natsuhiko saw no sign of Salyu. Instead, he found Yuri quietly reading a book. Hikorin. Oh, that's such a cute nickname. Yuri's casual tone of voice was a relief to Natsuhiko. A lot happened today, but it's a huge relief that Yuri's the same as always. All his worries and weariness were washed away with one look at Yuri's smile. Natsuhiko returned her smile and sank into the sofa.
Yuri は今日はどういう風に過ごしたんだい?
昨日と同じ編み物を少しして、続き物の本を2冊読んだよ。
Wow.
続き物? どんな本?
とても切ない恋愛小説。
What are you reading, Yuri?
主人公の過去について自らの記憶をもとに記したっていう形式のお話なんだけど、冒頭に出てくる記憶というのはすごく曖昧なものだっていう言葉が印象的でぐいぐい引き込まれちゃった。
記憶は曖昧なもの?
そう、主人公曰く人は自分の記憶を自覚しないままいろいろと書き換える性質がある。
I can see that happening.
だからこれから語る物語も真実とは限らないってね。そんな始まり方の恋愛小説ってなんか面白そうでしょ?
ちょっと煙
It must be referencing some kind of novel series that came out in Japan.
でもね、確かにその通りだって話を読み進めていけばわかるの。記憶はいつだって不確かで、現在の状況とか思い出す時の心境によって全く変わるって。
そんなことってあるか?
あるよ。例えば素敵な恋をしている人がいたとするでしょ、その恋が続いているうちは恋人との記憶は輝いて見えるけど、恋が終わったら辛いだけになっちゃうかもでしょ?
Okay, fair enough.
確かにそうかもしれないな。経験がないから何とも言えないけ
It's
ど。
like I've never been in love, I have no idea.
恋だけじゃなくてもさ、日常のさりげないシーンでもそういうのは起こると思うよ。あるセリフを言ったのが自分だったのか相手だったのかが入れ替わったりね。
なあ、それはわかる。真白ともよくお前が言った、いやあんたが言ったの問題で揉めることが多い
でしょ。そしてこの主人公も自分の過去について思い返すたびに微妙に記憶が書き換わっていることを自覚していくの。事実が変わらなくとも思いは移ろう。絶対の真実
That's an interesting perspective to
あ
have.
らゆる過去は曖昧な霧の中にある。だからどの記憶が本当だったのか主人公自身にも
Especially since this game deals with like memories and alternate what's happening with my voice? Alternate truths, I guess?
だけど
Or alternate endings?
とそこまで読んだところ続きはまた明日
Okay. Sorry, I'm not used to filming long formats like this anymore. So it may be a little wonky. Even Yuri was confusing him now. Natsuhiko's shoulders drooped. She softly smiled and continued.
でもね、この物語の結論がどうなるのかわからないけど希望のある話って感じがしない？
記憶ってのは曖昧だってことが？
記憶は移ろうものだけど、いつか辛い記憶も悲しい思い出もひっくるめて、綺麗なものに変わる日が来れば
I like talking with Yuri. I really do. Her words sounded more than just like a simple impression of a novel. But her expression was unexpectedly calm, which relieved Natsuhiko as he answered.
そうだな。本当にそう思うよ。それにしてもユーリ、そういう記憶に関する話好きだな。前にもそんな小説の話してくれたじゃないか。同じ事件に対して登場人物全員がバラバラの証
I
言を
wish
す
you
る
would
や
have
つ。
tips as to like what they're referencing, what Easter eggs are hidden in here.
大好き。自分の記憶でさえ移ろうんだから、まして他人同士だと全然別の印象を持つこともあるんだろうね。
Now that she mentioned it, Natsuhiko noticed that he and Mashiro had completely contrary impressions of Salyu. That reminds me, I haven't directly asked Yuri about her yet, have I? And with that thought in mind, Natsuhiko asked her with a sigh.
なあユーリ、印象といえばだけどさ。
何？
サリュについてだけど、どう思う？
どうしたの急に。ヒコリンはサリュちゃん苦手なの？
いや、そんなことはないけど、急に同居人が増えてユーリは大丈夫かなって思ってさ。
私は大丈夫だけど。
Okay, she says she's okay at least.
サリュちゃんが心配かな。緊張している風に見えるよ。
え？ユーリもか？
ねえヒコリン、サリュちゃんと友達になってあげてよ。私にそうしてくれたようにさ。
How could I not? How could I not? I love Yuri. She's the best.
ユーリと友達になった時みたいに。
That was a story from a long, long time ago. Natsuhiko's brain became filled with memories of those days. He felt as if time itself were melting away as he recalled the memory of the day he and Yuri first met. That day was nearly 10 years ago. On that day alone, all of Natsuhiko's playmates were busy, including Mashiro.
せっかく日曜日だってのに。
Natsuhiko went and played by himself in the park, bored. And that was when he met Yuri, who was doing the same. I don't think that's playing, I think that's crying. For some reason, tears were spilling down her face. She was so quiet, yet so sad. Upon seeing her, Natsuhiko got concerned and asked her.
なあなあ、なんで泣いてるの？
That was the first conversation Natsuhiko and Yuri ever had.
僕、夏彦。
夏彦くん？
お前、ことのユーリだろ？
Oh,
ちょっ
he
と
already
前に
knows who she
近く
is.
に引っ越してきた。友達になろうよ。せっかくご近所なんだからさ。
いいの？
Oh,
え？友達になっちゃダメなのか？
だって私超能力者だから。
okay, in the Japanese one, she just straight up said like psychic, like she didn't mispronounce it at all.
超能力者？ああ、コミュニケーターってこと？
Yeah, she said she's an esper or whatever you want to say.
それで？
He's like, and?
人の気持ちとか読めちゃうかもしれないよ。怖くないの？
別にそんなことないよ。なあなあ、一緒に遊ぼうぜ。
He used to be real chill, didn't he?
ありがとう。
And then the two of them started to play together. Though they weren't quite sure what they could play with, just the two of them. They started off only playing some simple games like hopscotch and Esken. What is Esken? Show me what Esken is. Esken. A children's game where two teams compete to steal the treasure from the other team's side. The name of the game varies by locality and is sometimes known as other names such as Letter S, Letter 8, and S Battle. I've never heard of this. In preparation for play, a large letter S is first drawn on the ground, and each team takes one of the interior circles enclosed by the S. An object is placed in each side as a treasure in the game's start. Player hops on one foot to the other team's side to steal the treasure without crossing the letter S. If a player touches the ground with both feet, they're out. The basic rules to the game can be easily appended to. For example, players can be birds that can only rest both feet on the ground when they reach the circles of land that are enclosed by S. The S can be replaced with a Z, reducing the defensive capabilities of both sides to make an all-out war. Or the S can be doubled up to tighten defense instead and create a war of attrition. The treasure can be omitted, and the goal of the game then sometimes becomes total genocide of the other team. What are these kids playing? Gameplay varies widely depending on the locality. I've never heard of that. But just hopping up and down on the lawn brought a smile to Yuri's face.
なかなかやるな、ユーリ
I just imagine her being like super competitive.
そんなことないよ。夏彦くんの方がケンケンパも S ケンもずっとうまいよ。
でも、さすがにちょっとくたびれた。休憩しよう。
Oh, she's so happy she made a friend. The two of them sat down together on the grass. Natsuhiko took a deep breath and asked Yuri a
と
question.
ころでユーリはさ、なんでこの町に引っ越してきたの？
お父さんがその方が私のためだって。
え？
六名士は超能力者が多いからって。ここなら私も気味悪がられないはずって。
Oh, she's not creepy. That reminded Natsuhiko. His mother had told him that this town had far more communicators than other towns.
そうだね。僕も適性があるらしいし。
夏彦くんもコミュニケーターなの？
うん、なんかそうみたい。テレパシーもまだ使えないけどね。
そうなんだ。実は
Oh, really?
私も
Okay.
同じだ。
So they must have just taken the test and said that they have the potential for it. Natsuhiko laughed and Yuri smiled in reply.
それにね、僕だけじゃないよ。知り合いの真っ白ってやつも適性が高いって自慢してたし、この町はコミュニケーターがいっぱいだよ。いて当たり前ってくらい。だから誰も有利を気味悪がったりしないよ。
夏彦くんも？
もちろん。
絶対？
Oh.
絶対だって。有利は心配性だな。
Natsuhiko smiled and Yuri smiled back in return.
よかった。私、
Oh, my
本当
heart.
はね、すごく不安
This is
だ
why
っ
I
た。
needed to go back. This is why I needed to come back to this game.
え？なんで？
お引っ越ししてから友達できるかなって、なんか信じられなかったから。
でも、もうできたよね。この公園には子供がいっぱい集まるからさ、ここに通えば他の友達もできるよ。
ありがとう。私、いっぱい通うね。初めて来たのに、夏彦くんと友達になれたし。
Yuri said only that much before suddenly making a face as if she suddenly remembered something.
そういえば、
ん？
なんで夏彦くんは私に声かけてくれたの？
You were crying.
見たことない子なのに、それも女の子なの？
You were crying in the middle of the park.
それは。
それは？
なんとなく。
なんとなくか。
Yuri seemed a little disappointed. But Natsuhiko lied. The real reason was because he saw Yuri crying. That's why he called out to her. Because he wanted to be there for her. Aw, he was trying to protect her a little bit. And for these past 10 years, he always had been. Once he remembered that day, he finally became self-aware of the reason why he had this guard up around Salyu. I see. So that's what it was. I'm afraid of Mom and Salyu trying to change my current life. This home was a place of peace for Natsuhiko. A safe haven from all the evils that threatened to break Yuri's fragile heart. Natsuhiko had already almost lost that refuge once, only barely managing to recover it. He'd been fervently protecting it ever since. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll leave Natsuhiko lower. I'm okay with that. He didn't like the feeling of an outsider stepping foot in his sanctuary, which is why he was putting such an emphasis on Yuri's feelings in the present situation.
なあ、ユーリ。本当にサリュが住むことについて異論はないんだな。
ないよ。ヒコリンは？
僕個人はどうでもいいんだ。ユーリの考えに合わせたいんだよ。
私は大丈夫だよ。
Okay. If she says she's good with it, I'm good with it.
本当に？気を使ってるだけじゃなくて？
本当だよ。ヒコリン心配性だな。
Of course we're worried about Yuri. She must be protected.
そうか。
Yuri turned to Natsuhiko's words from yesterday against him.
どうやら心配性はお互い様みたいだな。
心配してくれるのは嬉しいけど、でもどうしてそんなに気にするの？
僕は正直戸惑ってるんだよ。あの子妙なことを言うからな。
妙なことって？
Anything that comes out of her mouth?
僕を守りに来たとかなんとか、なんか逆に不吉じゃないか？
At those words, Yuri made an odd smile. What? And then suddenly spoke in a quiet voice.
ヒコリン、悪い方に取っちゃダメだよ。
What?
え？
サリュちゃんはね、きっと本心で言ってるの。
Those words startled Natsuhiko. What? Something's different about Yuri, just like yesterday. She suddenly spoke with a serious look on her face. She never used to do that in the past. She seemed almost like an entirely different person. Yuri continued, staring straight into Natsuhiko's confused eyes.
サリュちゃんはヒコリンを守ることに自分の役目を見出したんだよ。あの子はずっとそれを欲していたんだから。
ユーリ、まるでサリを前から知ってるような口ぶりじゃないか。まさかもともと知り合いだったのか？
No, this is a different Yuri. If that were the case, then he'd easily understand why she wasn't at all disturbed by Saryu's sudden movement. But Yuri silently shook her head.
私もヒコリンと同じくさっき会ったばっかりだよ。でも私にはわかるんだ。
I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save. I was down here. No, I was down more. Here. Okay. What? Why is it red? Why is it red? Okay, I'm gonna leave this maxed out. Yes, cancel.
どうして？
どうしてだろうね。でもサリュちゃんはきっとヒコリンの味方だと思うよ。
Okay.
味方だって？急にそんな風には思いにくいな。
そうだよね。
Yuri smiled sadly as she said so.
変化することをヒコリンも私も避け続けてきたよね。
Yeah, this is from like
いつ
experience.
かは受け入れなければダメなんだよ。そうしなければずっと過去にとらわれたままになっちゃうから。
She fell silent. The only sound in the still room was the ticking of the hands on the wall clock. Clock? Natsuhiko gasped. That's right! Yesterday, when Yuri started talking with this tone of voice. He looked at his watch, only to find it had broken before he had realized it. No way. Natsuhiko looked at his watch and stared in disbelief. The dial had cracked. The hands were stopped, and the date displayed was days into the future. 9/16, 6/19. Early morning, 5 days from today.
どうして
Yuri continued despite Natsuhiko's terror.
ねえ、ヒコリン。わからないことがいくつあっても、疑わしいことだらけでも、何が本当で、何が嘘でも、ヒコリンは善意に囲まれているはずだよ。だから、周りの人を疑わないで。
Okay.
疑うなら、私だけでいい。
What? And with that, Yuri turned around and left the living room.
ユーリ待ってくれそれどういう意味だ
Natsuhiko chased after Yuri, placed his hand on the living room door, and immediately died and opened it. Salyu, September 16. The jammed gate opened with a jarring sound. Before Natsuhiko could think, he tumbled over from excess momentum. And he knocked his back against the floor. What is happening?
夏彦、大丈夫？
Mashido called out to him. That's right, I forgot. Salyu silently looked down on him. Natsuhiko was confused for a few seconds as to what was going on. That's right, I was trying to escape from Labo. And after straining to wrench open a jammed gate, they had finally gotten it open. Yuri looked at Natsuhiko and anxiously spoke.
立てる？
あ
Natsuhiko got up and looked towards the gate.
それより行こうここから先が多分第2エリアだ
They all nodded and rushed towards Area 2. But still, Natsuhiko thought to himself. They were in such a desperate situation, yet Natsuhiko just spent a moment in deep reminiscence. Why now? Why am I remembering what happened these past few days? He vividly recalled what happened that day as if time had rewound itself. He experienced with such clarity the conversation he had with Mashido at the park, and the time Salyu showed up at their house too. No, this is no time to be looking towards the past. Concentrate on getting out of here. As soon as Natsuhiko had that thought, two bizarre silhouettes appeared further down the hall.
何あれ？
Natsuhiko and the others stopped in their tracks. The two shadows were unidentifiable people with their faces hidden behind masks. They spoke as they headed towards the group.
君たちは職員じゃないな。どうしてこんなところに？
あなたたちは
我々はラボから要請を受け、救助活動に来たレスキュー隊だ。
They must be the ones that were murdered.
レスキュー隊？
Natsuhiko breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing those words. Thank goodness. If we leave Yuri with these people, that's one thing off our minds.
君たちは要救助者だね。
ええ偶然ここにいて巻き込まれてしまったんです
他に連れは？
いえここにいる4人で全員です
何人だって？
What?
ねえ4人です特に体力のない女の子がいるのでその子から救助をお願いできますか？
分かった。ならばその子を。
What is that pose? That pose is like, I'ma get you. As the rescue squad member spoke, he reached out a hand to Natsuhiko. When suddenly, he found the foot lodged in his abdomen. Salyu says no. The rescue worker collapsed onto the floor from the impact of the kick. Huh? Natsuhiko looked at the girl next to him in shock. It was Salyu that had kicked the man. She looked at Natsuhiko with level-headed eyes.
何をする？
The other rescue worker grabbed at Saryu's shoulder. Yeah, I would do that if I were you. Salyu grabbed that hand, and not a second later, she hurled the man away. The rescue worker hit the floor and lost consciousness. Salyu responded to Mashiro's hollow voice with a
Natsuhiko, Mashiro, あなたたちは甘い。心を許すのが早すぎる。
I've been told I put my guard up too much, so which is it? Did something happen in the past 5 days?
なぜそうやってすぐに人を信じようとするの？
Saryu's cold gaze. One look from her and Natsuhiko was instantly reminded of a sight he once saw. Those same eyes she had when they first met. Those gazing eyes that looked at Natsuhiko expressionlessly from within the onlookers at the car crash. No. Why? As soon as Natsuhiko had thought that, Yuri whispered from beside him.
ヒコリン、忘れたの？サリュちゃんがどういう子だったか。
Yuri, help?
今日まで一緒にいたんでしょ？あの子の言葉に隠された真実、それがどういう意味を持っていたのかわからない？それを少しずつでいいから思い出してほしいの。何が本当で、何が嘘。
What is happening?
信じるべきなのは誰なのか。ヒコリンはもう知っているはずだよ。
He could not grasp the true intention of those words.
答えは記憶の中にあるの。あの日の記憶の中に。
What? As soon as those words left Yuri's lips, Natsuhiko saw his watch in the corner of his eye. The tiny numbers on the dial were almost bizarrely clear and distinct. 9:12, 6:39. What happened on that day? Natsuhiko tried to confirm what Yuri meant, as he struggled to form his thoughts into words. What? Natsuhiko sprung up in his bed. What is happening? For a second, he couldn't tell where he was. He took a look around before coming to the slow realization that he was in his room. He heard it. His heart was thumping hard.
また例の夢か。
That dream again? Every so often, Natsuhiko would wake up from a nightmare like this. But every time he'd wake up, he'd forget about the particulars of the nightmare. It probably had something to do with that day 9 years ago. Or perhaps...
朝から。まったく。
Natsuhiko shook his head in frustration before changing and leaving the room. Oh my god. Holy crap. Okay, I know it's a little bit short, like it's going to be a few minutes short, but I think it's a really good place to end it, and we'll start this day next time. So, sorry if there's a little bit of wonkiness in this video. Hopefully I'm able to get everything to work. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next MAMJ Let's Play.